It's about 6:43 now. Very soon we'll be connecting you to our correspondents across the country to get a feel of what's going on, how people are preparing for their various elections, how people are getting set to come out. And so we'll be feeding you up with that ahead of the voting process that will start in about an hour plus from now. However, we're still looking at preparation for election. Here we are in the studio, Decision 2023 in TVC, and my guest is Jide Ologun, a lawyer and public affairs analyst. We're looking at this issues of preparation for election. Now, this is the last leg of the general election for 2023, and like we told you, 28 states will be holding governorship election today, and 8 states will not be conducting the elections. They are what they call off-season or off-cycle election, and that's the states you're seeing on your screen right now: Anambra State, Imo, Edo, Bayelsa, Ekiti, Ondo, Osun, Kogi states. Now, the FCT, according to Section 299 of the Constitution as amended, is seen like a state, but it is not a state in that regard. And indigenes of those who are seen as original indigenes of Abuja have, they've been protesting and saying that they are being disenfranchised by not being allowed, providing the kind of structure for them to, have either a governor or maybe in their own case a mayor or something. But we have the minister of the FCT for now. All that debate is still ongoing. Someday maybe it will be resolved by creating those structures: the House of Assembly for Abuja, the governor or mayor for Abuja, and all of that. Now, Jide, let's talk about the issue of voter turnout. Now, in previous elections, we see how a state like Lagos or a state like Kano or a state like Rivers will generate about 2-3 million votes in previous elections. But with this Beavers, we saw a situation where, where did all the numbers go? And it seemed to be nationwide. We didn't see the kind of, the volume of votes from across everywhere the way we used to. Some people will say thanks to Beavers, or others will say, okay, maybe there's voter apathy somewhere. Those who are looking at it critically are still looking at it, trying to get the reason for that, trying to, bring out some of the study around it. But talk to us about voter turnout. Yeah, let's look at it from that window.
It's a bouquet of experience. In some areas, people came out. But coming out is not the same as being accredited to vote. So Beavers came in there. And for some still believe that their votes don't count. So there is nothing you do. They are angry. They are frustrated. They won't come out. But like Abraham Lincoln, a one-time American president, said, the ballot is stronger than the bullets. And you can see that playing out now. In fact, I'm so impressed by the signs coming out of this president general elections. Leadership is beginning to realize that what is in Section 14 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, that sovereignty belongs to the people, can be effective. And I think that will help also. It's a mixture, and again, we also need to go back to our laws to begin to define the percentage, because if you have 100 million registered voters and only 10,000 come out to vote, constitutionally, that percentage will be which party got the highest, the 25% in 24 states, and all those things we see. So we need to keep developing our laws. And again, I'm impressed that signal is going to the 10th National Assembly, and we're already setting agenda. Many of them are not returning. Some fresh ones are going in there. So they must get interested in the processes of enlisting leadership towards national development. You see, if our focus is really making things work, everything will be happy. Everything will be good, and people will be happy. You cannot solve all the problems in the society, but relatively, you can help solve the basic ones that will enable others to carry out their businesses and live meaningfully, in life. And that's when you come to the Human Development Index. And if you profile countries of the world, you see that the prosperous ones are those who have respect for Human Development Index. So when you see all this, then we may come to the point when, like I said earlier, you don't need to spend so much money just because you want to go and serve the people. And we save a lot of costs, we save a lot of troubles. A time may come when thugs have no role to play at all, but we are moving towards it. I think I've mentioned it this morning. There was a presidential election on the 10th of March in China. You see, many people did not know, because they've gotten to autopilot level. In fact, I was doing a study on the leadership style in the world. And China can boast that even America cannot come near their, sustainable leadership templates, the succession plan and everything, even though you may say that they are not purely democratic, but by virtue of the economic stature of China, I think the World Bank profiled China as the second richest country in the world in 2021. So when you look at all this, and in China, within a space of some years, 800 million citizens were moved out of poverty. So the discussion is about prosperity, not about poverty. So when we begin to look inwards and develop this capacity that will enhance the fortunes of the people, in fact, we may come to a point where some Nigerians don't even know the name of their president. Sincerely speaking, in countries where things work, people are busy, they've created their own world, enjoying, they don't know who.
So long as they pay taxes
exactly.
and they handle all those, all the amenities
in some
are
countries,
there and so on.
Their president's name is mentioned every day. So those are issues. And you see, God has blessed Nigeria. I was doing a study. About 40% of global resources are in Africa. You see, so that's why there was this rush.
Scramble.
This scramble for Africa. But, like the elders say, that it's not just enough to buy a hair tie. It's good to tie it. And when you tie it, it should fit you.
Of course, that's the idea. That's the original idea.
We need to get back to how do we manage these resources. Look at Nigeria, for instance. Nigeria has the second largest deposit of bitumen in the world. So we should not even be talking about bad roads. Nigeria has the largest deposit of proven gas in Africa. So we can go So talk about resources, we are settled. Gold,
Nigerians wait for when that potential will be translated to the prosperity that they want to see.
It's about leadership.
Especially when they travel, when they travel out of the country, and then it hits you the most when you leave, say, Otambo Airport or Kenyatta Airport or even Rwanda Airport or even in Accra, and then you're landing in our airport. You see the sharp difference between where you're coming from and where you just landed. It hits you. Next
time, I don't allow you to hit you.
No, but
we get. You are correct. I was in the U.S. and I strolled down from White House to Capitol, and and I saw a billboard that we are still building America. So, and I looked around.
You're still building all of this?
Around, and saw those huge monumental. And I said, you are still building? Okay. Keep building. You see, and these are things. Nigerians are fantastic human beings.
No doubt about that. No doubt.
Blessed. So, for example, and I think we are beginning to set agenda for the next leadership of this country. Please, if not having electricity is a cause, bring all the pastors together. Bring all the imams together. Bring all the spiritual people you know together to beg God to break that curse. The world is moving. A lot of things are connected to energy. We are talking of not being able to transmit results from beavers to IREV because of internet, this one. We are doing Naira swap. The facilities, the internet facilities are crashing. You cannot transfer money on your phone and things like no, no, no. The world has gone beyond that. You know, when people even write exams, courses in Nigeria online, virtually, without being physically there and things like that. So please, have mercy on Nigeria. This country is too blessed. I've gone from Arochukwu, I've been to Maiduguri, I've been to Sokoto, I've been to Kaduna, I've been to, Yola, I've been, to Akwa Ibom, I've been to Calabar, I've been to Abia, I've gone around. Anambra, Owerri, Enugu. Nigeria is blessed. Yeah. Nigeria is blessed.
Heavily blessed.
And we are just touching on the consciousness of leadership. That please, if anybody lay the foundation of hardship, let's dismantle that foundation. And that's what some of us have unrepentant hope about the greatness of Nigeria. And I think we are at the break-even point now, breaking point now that we are beginning to get engaging. Even though we may talk about apathy during the elections, the actual voting, I think the awareness is massive now.
But that awareness, we expect that, because really, if you compare this election, there are more people who were passionate, who demonstrated the willingness to be part of it. And we expected that there would have been a massive turnout of people, but that didn't necessarily translate to the numbers if we make comparison between those who voted now and those who voted in the last election.
In marketing and in advertising, there's this concept of a product hitting the market. There are stages. This is a new season in Nigeria, but there will still be laggers. You call some laggers. No matter how well the market is doing, they want to wait and watch and see what will happen before they jump. And so we cannot rule that out. But people are now beginning to see that, hey, participation is a core element in democracy. And then, like we tell people, if you don't get involved, then don't complain. And that's why some of us make the sacrifice to do all the research and engage the citizens and the leadership on what we need to do. So I believe that going forward, there will be improvement. So the commission handling our elections must be seen to give us credible, free, and fair elections. The electorates themselves must be seen not to want to compromise on behalf of any politician. I keep emphasizing this. When politicians win election and they are going for their return certificate, they don't go with their thugs. You are the most wretched of human beings if you choose to be someone else's thug. So you also have a life. You can be the governor, you can be the commissioner, you can be, who they also want to be. And by the time we bring in the concept of demand and supply, when you are looking for talks and the talks are not available, which is one of the things now.
Maybe you deploy your children.
This is one of the things the Inspector General of Police is doing, and I commend the Nigerian police for that. That okay, big man, we are withdrawing your security aids if you are likely to snatch their ammunition and be pursuing electorate. So when you know that the demand is not there, then the supply is decimated. But it's a journey, really. Some of these countries we make reference to, they've gone through their valleys before approaching the mountains. And you saw the encounter in Rwanda. So that's why I keep telling people that no matter how deep you have gone in life on the wrong side. You can still go as high as possible on the right side. So it's just a matter of decision. And that we have come to this point, hey, where do we go from here? And I think I'm a bit convinced that we are at the breaking point in Nigeria of redefining a fresh direction. Because if the issues right now, even though we are in crisis mode, they are still at the level of issues, and that means things can get worse. So, and that is why we are appealing to everyone, particularly if you notice also some of the post-election violence that some thought, everybody, the rain fell overnight, and people woke up to hear the results, and so I think going forward, but please, 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 speaking to leadership now, your peace is defined by the peace you activate for your citizens. It's a basic thing, and I believe they are seeing it. And of course, one other big lesson in life is that it's only God that will not leave office. Human being will leave office. So
God never leaves office.
Whether for 8 years or for 20 years,
He'll always be there.
What has a beginning has an end, and history will document what you have contributed, whether they are good or not. So
we have seen when it comes to elections, of course, on the African continent, several countries often don't get it right when it comes to the minimum requirement of credibility or acceptance or legitimacy, as the case may be, because of manipulations here and there. Of course, a lot of countries have tried to improve on their system, just like we have always been doing. But when it comes to being example, you travel across the African continent, and so many persons look up to Nigeria so much, and look up to Nigeria. Whatever Nigeria says, we will do. Especially when it comes to, all of those procedures and processes, they just feel that the way Nigeria does it, or the way they say we should do it or advise, may be the best. We often engage and we see the kind of expectation and the hope, they look forward to looking up to Nigeria. How conscious are we from that perspective, knowing that there is a huge number of people on the African continent looking up to how Nigeria is doing it, how they're navigating it, and so on, so that we, even if it is that sentiment alone, we use it to say, okay, no, we must have to do it right because so many persons are depending on us.
Our country is a great nation. I mean, in fact, right now we have resumed back to the peacekeeping mission. So it's a great nation, but the danger there is that even when you are being celebrated, you don't have to be complacent because things are happening. It's like someone who was excellent in typewriter proficiency, and everyone brought documents, and personal computer came, and I have no business with personal computer. Very soon you'll be out of job.
Yeah.
So we need, and what you do with that consciousness is to consistently develop yourself. It's important. If you look at China replicated the cultural production at home and started pushing to the world, you see, and that is giving them huge economic influence across the world. So we need to develop these potentials. Africa in fact, the world looks up to Nigeria, that you are the giant of Africa. It's not just a mere claim. I mean, if the Britons came to colonize us, they must have seen something about us. You see, so I think we first need to deal with our psyche. And it's the role of leadership. The motto of Nigeria is unity, faith, peace, and progress. And what that unity will do is to give us a sense of patriotism. Look at one of the outcomes of these general elections. Ethnic battles. I mean, even if we are fighting at the ethnic level, if you are in an environment where you prosper, okay, Mr. Mike, in this season of cash crunch, if you offer me 2,000 naira new notes here and now, will I ask you the last ethnic personality that spent the money? What's my business?
Of course not.
You see, crude oil is in the Niger Delta region. Reportedly, crude oil has been found in the north. So if you want to be ethnocentric, okay, develop that of the north for north, let them enjoy it. So you find a group of citizens manipulating the minds of the people. And I throw this back to electorate, so citizens. No, let's unite. And leadership is crucial. One of the things, the magic of Rwanda, was for Paul Kagame to sit back there. So what have we benefited from ethnocentric lifestyle? And abolish sense of ethnicity. And people will follow. People will follow. I'm amazed that these general elections is almost throwing us back to the 1960s of Nigeria on ethnicity battles and things like that. So these are issues that we need to deal with. The world is looking up to us.
Yeah, but is Nigeria getting used to it? There has to be this realization that, we've been doing this since 1960. In fact, even before then, we have come to stay. When it comes to our religious, we have come to stay. Nigeria will always, until the end of time, have Muslims, have Christians, and even the traditionalists. We will always be here in this country. Nigeria will always have a Yoruba person, we'll have a Hausa person, we'll have an Igbo person, we'll always have Ijo, we'll always have Bini or Igede, Idoma. Whatever the thing is, Nigeria will always, you can't change it anymore. There's nothing that is coming to say, okay, let us wipe out, or maybe we're coming to remove from Nigeria the Yoruba element. It's not possible. So at what point can we get used to this thing, to say, we've come to stay. Let us see how we can begin to weave ourselves into being a nation and so on.
When we start dealing with exploitation, as a married counselor, I advise couples, I will rather fight with my wife than to fight my wife. So when you have issues in the family, one of the things the devil wants to do is isolate the husband from the wife, wife from husband.
Like the divide and rule kind of situation.
I would rather join her in that storm. How can we solve this problem? And that is the case of Nigeria. Let me ask this simple question. The oil thieves, are they only from Southeast? Or from Southwest? Or from Northwest? Or from North Central? Are they not from all the ethnic regions? What are we talking about?
But united in that mission.
Destructive mission. And that's the point we are making. And that is why the citizens must liberate themselves. And that is why I am frantically against any movement that does not give premium to education. In fact, Section 18 of the Nigeria Constitution 1999 as amended says that the government must provide education for the citizens. So these are issues. So we fight. Crude oil speaks no language. The gold in Zamfara does not speak northern language. You see, we hear about farmers, fight headers, farmers clash. Are they not, do they not do ranching in America? I was going to Canada from the US by road, by choice, because I love, to see nice places. And you see farm settlements and ranches and things like that. You see what people have done with the resources God gives them. Mr. Mike, you did not design this tie you are wearing. It came from God, not in form of this tie. It came in form of a seed planted that produced cotton. And the ingenuity of the superstructure human being to translate it into, and on and on and on.
Cloth.
The value chain, the ecosystem of production. And by the time it landed in Nigeria, you paid all the added value. And you are wearing it handsomely. That is how God has planned the world. We are here debating zero remittance to Federation account from NNPC. NNPC was established in April 1977, if my history judges me well. And years in the future when you should be improving. Zero remittance to the Federation account. You see, when we have, and there are some countries that they have not bothered themselves with the little resources they have, that they may not even have crude oil, but they have developed refining capacity. So you bring your raw materials, they give you 2% of your raw materials, they keep the 98%, and you still pay premium for that 2%, bring it back to your people, and you are talking of losing $10 billion in subsidy in year 2022. It's on record. In fact, Ghana has, painstakingly removed fuel subsidy.
Yeah, they removed fuel subsidy. And I was like, wow.
And the big question, who are the guys and the girls behind this subsidy? I'll begin to read about, we have crisis in our fuel oil sector because of smugglers. So who is to control smugglers? Who is to control smugglers? Is it the business of Mr. Mike? Who is here overnight?
I have already paid my taxes for the authorities to ensure that it's taken care of.
So these are issues. So when the exploiters of the nation are retired, and we have a leadership that realizes that the benefits of the world is for the people to enjoy, and that when that is allowed, they have more peace. Sometimes, like you said, I was when Dubai came in from London on vacation, and I just realized my eyes were peppy somehow. And you look 2 a.m. transactions still going on, people sitting outside, that sense of security. Look at what Dubai has done now. They make a lot of money. Mr. Mike, if you know how much Nigerians pay for visa, non-refundable, you'll be amazed. And Dubai is saying, despite this revenue, please allow us sanitize our environment for now. In fact, the conditions are so stringent now. If you want to apply as a family, how much you must have in your account, and they want to profile you. That's what we are saying. You see, so please, let's occupy that place of pride. And do you know one of the fountain sources of my hope for Nigeria is that God has not withdrawn the resources he has given us. So those resources, the oil is still there until we do away with oil. It's still relevant. People still need oil. We still have the gas. We still have the gold, the glass sand. We have this California, different kinds. I understand there is one in Sambisa Forest that they are using the boundary to cover. And some smugglers are mining. So when you drop your greed and realizing that you are amassing wealth, you don't know who will come to consume. And that the essence of God even give you opportunities to be a blessing to humanity, then we begin to enjoy. And that's why it's easy. Did you hear Boris Johnson going to election tribunal? In fact, when Liz Truss got there and they brought the systemic mandate to her, she read through, profiled herself, self-evaluation, and said, no, I cannot cope, man. And she just willingly stepped aside. You know why? She's not going to miss anything. Even if she's not a parliamentarian, the basic amenities are there for her to enjoy. And that's what we are talking about. It's not that I was going to office.
I don't think Nigeria is ripe to have that kind of system where someone will say...
we will be ripe, whether by compulsion or... when I look at the trends of kidnapping, I get concerned. It may come to a point where your wealth even becomes a threat to you. And that is why we need to quickly start driving an intervention that we sanitize the system we operate. Look, if our, it's a serious matter.
We were speaking with Professor Kila sometime. We interviewed him. In fact, he's supposed to still join us on this analysis. And he was trying to bring up something like this issue of people voting. He was making analysis from the perspective, a huge chunk of people who vote sometimes don't even know the candidates they are voting for. They are just voting because either they said we should vote for this political party, or they came to tell us that this person is better, based on this or based on that. And so this person is my tribe, or this person is my religion, or this person is, that a lot of people don't really know why they're voting for this person, because they don't have what it takes to assess or analyze the person, the pedigree, the history, the capacity, and so on. And it was like, everybody mustn't vote. Those who vote should be people who actually know the candidate, understand the party, understand the programs, and so on, so that they can say, yes, I voted for this person because of this and because of that. I wonder what you make of this argument.
I made reference to education. That is called the spirit of it, what you call political discernment. And do you know it's beginning to happen in Nigeria? I started speaking about it about 3 years ago, that we may come to a point in time when party loyalty may crumble. You see, and we have seen from the most recent exercise that people can actually hold the card of party A and vote for a candidate in party B, you see, and it's part of the learning process. But we need to educate, and that's why some are afraid about the power of education. Education helps you with discretion. I just made a point here now. If I'm going to vote, I'll be considering consolidation. Why will I vote in a way that the structure that is being built is collapsed, and for the next 4 years, we are trying to lay another foundation for it? No. So why don't we, and one of the things we've been trying to do through the media is to keep the parties awake also. And it's beginning to happen. Nigeria used to be like a two-party state from the days, from the Second Republic. It was tri-party then, then